In this video, I'm going to be sharing tips on how to survive the first year of your PhD program. So that is tips that I think helped me to thrive during the first year of my PhD program. If you are new here, my name is Ayodeji Matuluko and I'm a PhD student in Glasgow, Scotland. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you very much for coming back to my channel and for supporting my channel. So let's get right into the tips. So number one, determine your working pattern. Determine what hours are comfortable for you to work. So some people are early birds, so they'll get to work by 8 a.m. They start their work, and by 5 they're leaving the office. And some people work and thrive better when they work maybe from 11 to about 6 p.m. So people are different. Never compare yourself to other PhD students or think that you're not doing enough just because you're not working at the same time that other people are working. So it's important to understand what makes you productive and stick to it, and don't feel bad as long as you're getting your work done and your outputs are acceptable to your supervisors and your progress is fine, then that's okay. And also linked to that, you also need to determine where you can work and what will make you happy and help you to do your work in a proper manner and being productive. So for example, when I started my PhD, I'd always known that I work well in quiet environments. I thrive and do my work very well where I can concentrate. And so when I started the first year of my PhD, my first office was in an open plan environment. So people can easily come up to you, chat, and you can decide to chat the whole day and you might not really get any serious work done. So by the first month, I saw that it was not going to work for me. So I know there are people that like those kind of environments, but it was important for me to stay true to myself and determine what was going to make me work effectively. And so what I did was try to find a quiet place to work, even though I had my office. So that meant finding a quiet study space in the library, or just finding a room somewhere in the postgraduate study space that was very quiet. And then later on in the evenings, I was able to come back to the office and continue to get my work done and then decide when to stop and go home. So that made me feel comfortable and allowed me to really get a lot of work done early on in my PhD. Because if I had sat down and thought to myself, oh, what will people think if I'm not always in the office, or I don't want to chat with them? But that doesn't really matter, because you didn't come into a PhD program to chit chat all day. You came to get your work done, you came to get your research done. So you need to determine what your working pattern is, where you can work, and stick to it or tweak it as you find out more about what makes you productive, and be comfortable with doing what is important to you and be comfortable with doing what works for you. And that way you're going to achieve success day to day. Stay true to yourself. Number two, you need to be comfortable with asking questions and seeking support. So that could mean asking fellow PhD colleagues questions, or people that are far ahead in the journey, and just anything that you don't understand or anything you feel you need support with and you need somebody else's opinion on it. You can ask questions. Don't ever feel like you're stupid if you ask questions, because you feel like, oh, people might see that, oh, you don't know what you're doing, that how did you even get into the PhD program? But that's just your mind telling you lies. You need to be comfortable with asking questions. So simple questions like, oh, how do I set up my Outlook calendar, or how do I have access to this particular network drive, and so and so. Ask questions. You need to make sure that you're comfortable asking those questions early on, because those simple things that might confuse you early on, they are very important to understand, so that you can just continue to be productive throughout and you don't have to worry about certain things. Also, you could ask your supervisors questions and get comfortable with asking them questions. Don't ever feel like you're stupid for asking questions. Your supervisors don't expect you to know everything about your research when you're starting out. That's why you're doing a PhD. So the fact that they've selected you from a number of applicants to come into the PhD program means that they believe that you can do the job. Make sure that you're comfortable with asking for clarifications if you don't understand certain things, and they'll be willing to answer your questions. So get comfortable with asking questions and clarifying things. If you also feel like you need extra support, so maybe you're struggling with your mental health or you need extra well-being support, feel comfortable with seeking out those services, as most universities usually have mental health and well-being services available. So you want to make sure that you are well supported at the early stages of your PhD, and even later on. Don't feel ashamed if you need to seek out support. Don't feel ashamed if you're struggling early on and you need somebody to talk to. If you cannot find that support from other students or your supervisors, seek out mental health and well-being support through your university, and you want to make sure that you're supported throughout your PhD journey. So number three, you need to take advantage of professional development opportunities available to you within and outside your university. So that would include seminars, trainings, and workshops that are provided by your university or other things that go on outside the university. Now, most universities have this as a mandatory component where you're required to attend a certain amount of training, workshops, and seminars. And in my own university, you have to fill a professional development record every year and submit that as part of an annual report. So even if it's not a mandatory component of your program, you need to make sure that you're seeking out those opportunities by yourself. So one thing that really helped me early on in my PhD was my supervisors also required me to do a skills assessment. So to see what skills that I had and where I was lacking. And that way we're able to together target what kind of career development or professional development support that I needed. That helped me to target what kind of training, seminars, and workshops I should be attending. So doing that process also helps. I need to take advantage of so many of these opportunities. So this could be workshops on academic writing, workshops on how to format your thesis, workshops on how to be an effective researcher. Never think that any of this is not important, because trust me, you don't want later on in your PhD to be wondering, oh, what kind of support is available, or what kind of trainings do I need to attend, or not know things that you should have known in your first year if you are just taking advantage of those opportunities early on. It also helps you to build your portfolio as a professional, as a researcher, and it helps you to become more effective, and over time it helps you to strengthen your CV. So also take advantage of opportunities outside your university. So trainings, conferences, seminars. It is never too early to attend conferences. I mean, in the first month of my PhD, I was already attending a conference that was linked to my PhD area. What that does for you is it helps you to see how your research fits into the broader research area. It helps you to network with people early on. It helps you to know who are the key people that you should be talking to. And it helps you to stay grounded and stay motivated in your work. Most universities usually have some sort of support towards attendance at these trainings, conferences, and workshops outside the university. So find out what kind of funding support is available and take advantage of it. Make sure that you're taking advantage of all opportunities available to you and you're not missing out on anyone. So my number 4 tip is going to be around the importance of writing, and I'm going to talk about it in 2 ways. So writing your thesis, the obvious part, and also writing notes. So with respect to writing your thesis, it's very important to start writing as early as possible, from the first week of your PhD. And one thing that my supervisors did for me that really helped was that they gave me things to write about early on, so topics to write about linked to my PhD work. And what that has done for me, or what that did for me, was that it helped me to have something written up that I was able to include in my upgrade reports 9 to 12 months later. And also those things have gone into my thesis. So most people will tell you that, oh, most of what you write in your first year will not go into your thesis, oh, don't waste your time writing. But trust me, even if all of it does not go into your thesis, some of it is going to go into there. And also what it does for you is that it helps you to exercise your writing muscles, and it helps you to clarify your thinking, because when you write, you're able to clarify what you're thinking, you're able to clarify your arguments, you're able to strengthen your arguments, you're able to practice how to be an academic writer and how to refine your work as you go along. So write up as you go along. It's very important. It's more beneficial to have a lot of words written by the 3rd final year of your PhD than to have nothing written up at all, because when you have a lot written, you can edit down and refine your work, and you can make it a polished thesis. So it saves you a lot of stress and makes you productive. Also, the other aspect of writing notes is very important to document everything throughout your PhD. So that could be writing notes during your supervisory meetings, and most universities make it easy for you to do this. So in my own university, you're required to write a meeting record at the end of each meeting and submit that to your supervisors for endorsement, and then that goes on to the research administrator. But even if you don't have that structure, always take notes. Make sure that you're taking notes during your supervisory meetings. It could be things that you've discussed, things that you need to follow up on, action points, things that you need to clarify. Document everything. You think that you will remember, but trust me, you're going to forget, because things are going to happen. Your PhD stress is going to get to you. So many activities are going to happen. But if you have all of it documented in a notebook, that would help you. So for me, I have separate notebooks. I have a notebook for my meetings where I write my notes and then transfer that into a Word document that I send on to my supervisors for endorsement after each meeting. But also, I have a separate book which I'm calling a research diary. So I learned about research diaries during my master's. That is also a notebook where you can document everything that happens day to day in your PhD. Every single thing. It could be something you're trying to understand, like little memos that you write to yourself, papers that you read, key points or light bulb moments. If you document all those things, you find out that later on in your PhD, when you're starting to think back about why you made a certain decision or why you decided to choose a certain methodology or where you saw that important point, what paper was it, when you have all that documented, you can just look back and see, oh, and you remember, because you think you will remember, but you're going to forget. And you can also determine what works best for you. So are you a paper-based person? So do you need all those notebooks to write down, or are you writing not all on your laptop? For me, I'm a paper-based person, so I kind of like to write things down, but I also have part of it written like memos in my laptop and Word documents. So just determine what works for you, but make sure that you're documenting as you go along and you're writing notes. And also take notes when you read paper. So you'll be reading a lot of papers during your PhD, so you want to make sure that you're taking notes about everything that is important, and you can find a way to organize that. So you can have an Excel sheet for papers that you're reading and the notes that you want to make, or you can do that within a reference manager and make notes as you go along. But make sure that you're documenting such that by the time you're starting to round up your PhD and refining your thesis, you have everything documented, and you can always go back and defend decisions that you made, refine your arguments, and understand how your thinking and how your work has evolved over time. My number 5 tip is around organizing literature, doing your literature review early on in the first year of your PhD. With respect to doing your literature review in your first year, you need to make sure that you understand how to do it properly. So if that means going for specific training on it, so maybe workshops offered through your university or modules on certain postgraduate programs, attend those and get all the knowledge and the skills that you need to carry out your literature review and do it properly. Learn how to carry out a systematic review, how to search databases, how to develop keywords, and also make use of the resources available to you through your university. So that would include the library. Librarians are your best friend when it comes to finding information, because they're very skilled at database searching, and they can have access to research or papers that you are not able to access, and also they can help you to refine your keywords and learn how to combine keywords. So make use of all the services available to you and make sure that you are well grounded in how to carry out a literature review. You will do the literature review very early on in the first year, especially if you're in a university where you're required to do an upgrade viva, maybe in the 9 to 12 months or the middle part of your PhD, where your reports will include a literature review and probably aspects of your methodology. But even if you don't have that structure, you want to make sure that early on you understand how to do a literature review, and even if you'll be doing it throughout your PhD, you have that initial grounding and foundation that is already developed. So it is very important. So there you have it, some tips to thrive in the first year of your PhD program. If you like the tips that I've shared in this video, you can give this video a thumbs up, share and subscribe to my channel, and turn on all post notifications so that you get notified when I upload the next video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.